Hello there YouTube, it's your boy B3, back with another kicking action figure review. Today we are looking at my favorite 3 3/4 inch line of all time, folks. It is the Hasbro Iron Man 2 comic series, Silver Centurion Armor Iron Man. This could be Tony Stark or Jim Rhodes. I believe they both wore this armor, or at least one like it. Hard to remember. There's been so many armors. But it is very cool. It is my favorite of the classic armors design-wise. Really, really awesome stuff. And I recently reviewed the Iron Man 2 3 3/4 inch Hasbro comic series neoclassical armor Iron Man. And this guy takes a lot of what was wrong with that figure and kind of fixes it. And I really appreciate it, because a lot of this figure is just that figure. Same arms, half of the same torso, same legs, but the upper half of the torso and the head are the main differences sculpt-wise. But this guy seems to be a lot better quality control-wise, and even a little better articulation-wise. So let's take a look at this Silver Centurion Iron Man. First up, this is the single-carded version. There is a re-release of it under the Marvel Universe line, which re-released this guy alongside the Mandarin, and they came with a comic book, and they repainted them. The Mandarin got a new red paint job, and this guy got a new lighter color paint job, which made the silver white, so he's not very silver anymore. I have that 2-pack for sale, and I have reviewed it. And now I am reviewing this single-carded version of the dude, the boy, the guy. So the neoclassical armor Iron Man couldn't really look up for a flying pose. This guy can. In conjunction with his torso articulation, he can get into a decent flying pose. Not a lot of the Iron Men in this Iron Man toy line can actually get in a flight pose. It's mostly the comic series that can. Boy, I am sure glad that he can. That's great. His whole head articulation is actually better. He's got a great wobble on him, up and down rotation. This is some of the best head articulation in the entire line, if not the best head articulation in the entire line. Maybe only beat out by the advanced and Arctic armors. Amazing. The shoulder pads on the neoclassical, they came up all the way, but they just fell off. They would just fall right off. This guy's are pinned down by this kind of jetpack here. It holds them down over the hinges. So they kind of learned from the neoclassical, and they don't pop off. The trade-off is they don't articulate up as high, but I think it's a pretty good trade-off in exchange for not losing your shoulder pads. Luckily, I never lost the neoclassicals. Huh. Oh well. So yeah, those come up. The arm goes up. It would go up all the way if not for the shoulder pads, but it can only go up as high as they can, which is still pretty high for this line. And you got full rotation. You have to bring it out because of the shoulder pads, but it does go all the way around. Great stuff. Single elbow bend and rotation. And this guy's wrists rotate. The wrists on my neoclassical don't. They're kind of stuck in place. I don't know if that's an issue with my neoclassical because he had terrible quality control on him, and maybe his are supposed to but don't, but this guy's do. There is a trade-off, though. They aren't painted. The neoclassical had painted repulsors on both hands. This guy does not. The neoclassical had painted repulsors on the bottom of the feet. This guy does not. Fully sculpted, but not fully painted. So they skipped a little on the repulsors on this guy. That's really the spot where the neoclassical beats it. It really is. They painted the arc reactor, but none of the repulsors, interestingly enough. At least they're consistent. At least 2 aren't painted and 2 are, you know? So that's that. The cat wants out. Kitty, you can't go out there. You can't go outside. You know that. You guys stay inside so you don't murder the local bird population. Anyway, the torso looks up pretty far. It still has the same flaw that the neoclassical did, where it can't bend forward, but sorry, I'm just comparing it to the neoclassical this whole time, but that was kind of my plan. That's why I reviewed the neoclassical before this, so I could show you the improvements. But still great side to side, and a good bit of back, which really helps get that flying pose, really helps hit it. In and out on the legs. If you turn the joint, You can go forward and back, and you can use the thigh swivel to line it up right. It doesn't really go all the way back because of his hard plastic bussy. It'll kind of kick out to the side when you go back, but Hasbro still has trouble with hard plastic bussies to this day, so what can you do? Great double knee bend, though. Really excellent double knee bend on a 3 3/4 inch. The up and down on the feet could be a little better. I wish that joint was red. That would be nice. But the rotation's really good. So yeah, he still has some of the problems the Neoclassical had. And like the Neoclassical's legs on mine are all screwed up, but this is the same sculpted legs, and they're not screwed up. So my Neoclassical just got really cursed by the quality control gods. It's like old NECA made it. NECA's great now, but they used to have horrible quality control problems. But yeah, this guy's looking good. And accessory-wise, he's really the same as the Neoclassical. So let's get into that after I tell you that his paint is really nice. The reds are a much more consistent metallic than the Neoclassicals, whose reds were all over the place. The sculpt is really on point. That is a great head sculpt. The paint is a tiny bit sloppy on the arc reactor, but well, okay, I can forgive it. Well, it'd be a lot easier to forgive if, you know, the repulsors were painted. That'd be cool. And then these are filled in, these spots where the kind of flesh, quote unquote, was, they're kind of filled in with the color of the gauntlets and the boots. I think that's more of an artistic choice. And it's filled in here too. I think that's more of an artistic choice. Anyway, same accessories as the Neoclassical. All of the Iron Man 2 figures come with a stand like this, and they all come with these armor cards. And I love the armor card gimmick. It makes for a great display. The armor cards, once out of the plastic, mine have never been removed from the plastic, line up in here, and then it makes a great like Hall of Armors display. I used to have all my armors lined up on these stands with the cards. A lot of my cards didn't stay well because they were still in the plastic, like this guy who you really have to mess with. But you can always take him out of the plastic. It's like a resealable little team bag thing. So you can see here, it looks cool when you have them all lined up with the armor cards. It makes for a really cool display. But also another thing about the armor cards is the reason there's 3 is so you can mix and match them. So one of the cards has the torso, one of the cards has the head and arms, and one of the cards has the legs. So you could have Silver Centurion's torso with Neoclassical's head and arms, and then like Titanium Man's legs. You know, just mix all these different armors and different characters together to make new designs. Really fun for kids, and probably kind of fun for adults too. Yeah, the armor card gimmick was very enjoyable, made for a cool display for adults, but also a fun gimmick for kids. And he comes with this repulsor blast, kind of a pretty standard phallic repulsor blast for these Iron Men. Several of them came with this, you know, this is what you use when you strike out at the bar, you know what I mean? Several of them came with it. It just pops on the fist hand of any given Iron Man. It can go on many different Iron Men. It's not specifically sculpted for him. Sometimes you really gotta figure out which way to turn these puppies. But they usually stay on alright. Usually. And now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the review. Size comparisons. Here on the left is the Iron Man figure that I've somehow talked more about than the one we're reviewing. The Hasbro Iron Man 2 comic series Neoclassical Iron Man. As you can see, there are many differences. A lot of shared parts, but a lot of new and improved parts. And by the way, I did go back and check the wrists on my Neoclassical. I was right. They do not articulate. That is something that the Silver Centurion does that he does not as well. It's the same sculpt, but the Silver Centurion's has extra articulation. Very interesting. So he scales well with his own line and looks good with his own series. That's perfect. But there was another 3 3/4 inch Hasbro Marvel line out at this time. Marvel Universe. This is the Marvel Universe Thanos, who I will also be reviewing and selling. By the way, all 3 of these puppies are going to be for sale. As much as I would like to keep them all, they're going to be for sale either on my eBay page or in my physical store. They might go back and forth just depending on sales trends, you know. Who knows? But if you follow Instagram, I post everything I sell. So it'll tell you where to find it. And if I change it, I'll repost it to be in that new spot. All right? So yeah, very, very cool. I really like these guys, but unfortunately I don't collect 3 3/4 inch anymore, so I'm kind of holding on to them mostly out of nostalgia, because I really do like them. They're great figures. 3 3/4 inch figures are largely worse now, especially Marvel ones. But if I want to buy new figures, I have to get rid of old stuff for the money and the space. So yeah, they all have to go. So check out the links down below if you want any of these figures. I will be putting Thanos up for sale after I review him, but these 2 Iron Men should be up for sale now. But yeah, he scales well with the Thanos, so he scales well with all the Hasbro 3 3/4 inch stuff from this era. And for the sake of reference, here he is with a Hasbro Marvel Legends 6-inch or 1/12 scale. I believe these are called 1/18. This is 1/12. Marvel Legends Kane Scarlet Spider from the SPDR Build-A-Figure Wave. If you're the kind of person that doesn't really care if their 3 3/4 inch stuff is with their 6-inch stuff, if you just have characters together and don't worry about scale, this is about how he will look with your 6-inch Marvel figures. So what are my final thoughts on the Hasbro Marvel Iron Man 2 comic series Silver Centurion Armor Iron Man? He's really cool. Sculpt-wise and articulation-wise, he is the same as the 2-pack version. This one, I think, has better paint colors. He's actually silver, a silver Centurion, and he has more accessories, which is very awesome. I really do like this guy a lot. He improves so much over the neoclassical. There's a reason that this is one of my favorite armors. It looks cool. It works better as a figure. He's so cool in so many ways. I really do hate to sell him. I don't know what I'm going to sell him for yet, but he will be complete with all accessories, loose from package, but not loose in articulation. His articulation is very tight because he's mostly stood in this just vanilla pose the whole time I've had him. I've actually very rarely posed him up because he's been in the Hall of Armors display where everything is just in a vanilla pose because it's waiting for Tony to don it. So that's that. But he's very cool. I really like him. Really an improvement for the line. And I'm sad to see him go. I was sad to see this line as a whole go. I was sad to see this era of 3 3/4 inch figures go. But hey, that's just what you do. So that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out the cool links down below. Instagram, eBay, etc. It'll all show you what I'm selling. That's it. Thank you all once again. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.